Hey, crypto heads, it's the Goose with the Cryptic Paranormal Show. We're back. We're super excited about tonight's show. Cannot wait to get started. We're going to go around the horn. Going to see D-Night, blah, 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 blah. What's her name?
Yes, it's
Denise.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Actually, my new name's Deegan. I don't know if you guys know that, but Kimmel is my new name.
Who did?
That's perfect.
Kimmel.
No, he can't just give out names willy-nilly. Your name is D-Nice.
Deegan now.
You're going to shut that shit down?
Yeah, no. It's D-Unit or D-Nice.
D-Unit was also given to me by Kimmel. So
well, that's fine. That's fine.
He's at his
limit. Say it no more. He just can't do this just for the hell of it anytime he wants to.
Coming from the man with like 5 or 6 nicknames.
Right.
I came up with all of them myself, though, so okay. I'm all right.
All right, Anger Kitty / Max Bragan / Heisenberg /
All right, I didn't come up with any of those by myself.
Okay. Yeah,
except Max Bragan's.
Patience, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Patience.
Happy birthday.
Thank you for letting us borrow Christopher for a couple hours. Speaking of Christopher, there he is down there, our special guest, psychic medium, intuitive reader, Christopher Lee JANSEN. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. Not only excited to be here with you guys, but excited to be in my favorite place on earth.
That's right. Where are you at tonight?
I'm at FCI. I'm at the infirmary tonight.
That is amazing. What's anything happening there yet?
Other than GhostTube telling me to not leave when I went to go upstairs to jump on this call with you guys, I think it's going to be a great night because I think they're going to be sassy tonight. So we do not know what's going to happen here tonight.
That's my favorite.
Patience is standing in the doorway right now. They wished you happy birthday. She's waving.
Hi, Patience.
Hey, Patience. Happy birthday. Hey, Penny. How are you doing? We got... Holy crap, we haven't seen her in forever. Ashley, we missed you.
Oh, my goodness.
My sister from another mister.
The storm has rolled in.
Somebody must have hacked her account.
What is up?
We love you so much.
She wouldn't just dare show up here unannounced.
So, Christopher.
Yes.
Let me tell you about my first night at the seminary, since we're speaking of sassy spirits.
Oh.
We were up in the attic of the Civil War building, and everyone was thinking that they were seeing something like black out the light that was coming through the window. And so one of our volunteers, Hannah, said, can you block out the light? And the Phasma box was playing, and it said, "Bitch, I'm a spirit." And we were like, oh shit. And it was from that night that I fell in love with the building and the sassy spirits.
That's epic. I love that.
It was clear as day. Just like, ask stupid questions, get stupid answers,
Right.
Fantastic.
Got Mama Bear chiming in. We'll love you, Mama Bear. And then Peggy.
Hi, Mama Bear.
Whatever.
And Pezzy. There she is.
Hi, Peggy.
Peggy.
So when we have special guests on, like the first thing we want to know is the origin story. How did this all start for you? Did this gift you have, that start at a young age, or is it something that kind of developed when you were a little bit older?
It did start at a young age. Before the point of what I would call where this began, I'm going to say that I don't recall a time where this wasn't of interest to me. I mean, to me, it feels like from the moment I learned how to read, this is what I wanted to read about. I mean, it was always calling to me, like not just calling, but screaming my name at the top of its lungs. So for the first, let's say 10 years of my life, I was just kind of coasting along. And then at 10, it's like I was launched head in. And that started for me when I had a dream about someone who was a very close friend of our family's, young, healthy person. I dreamt that she passed away. There was no reason to have a dream like that. There was no reason to think about that. 3 days later, she died.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, I never even made the connection that this dream happened and then she died. So at that same time period, I recall very vividly the sensation of being at her funeral, seeing her where her body was, and seeing her there with me and talking to me.
Wow.
So that was kind of a moment of, this isn't really normal. At least for most people. And I'm still not connecting the dots to that dream yet.
Yeah.
I think it was 6 or 7 years later when I had a dream again of someone passing, and they passed 3 days later, that I started to realize that that's kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's not a fun thing.
No, not at all. That's horrible.
I don't think I want to be on this show anymore. This is kind of scary.
I will say that every time I've had that dream and that's played out that way, it's not been like the first time that this was a young, healthy person that shouldn't have happened. I mean, I've been able to wake up in the morning, look at the situation and go, okay, this makes sense. It would be this person's time. This is natural.
Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, still, I don't know that makes it better.
No, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, slightly, a little bit better.
But as for the being at the funeral and here she's lying and here she's standing, she's talking to me, that was something that seemed to happen more and more frequently. I mean, just with people that I'd known, and then like a switch was flipped, all of a sudden it was like people I didn't know. Just there they were. They were coming to me.
That's a good question, Peggy.
Peggy wanted to know if it was always 3 days, like 3 days after the dream.
In that instance, when I've lost someone that I've dreamed about, it's always 3 days.
That's so bizarre. I wonder what
Gives
the
me time
correlation
to
is.
maybe make some amends and talk to him.
Yeah. You know how the hospice nurses will say that people will see people who they know who have passed on, and they always say it's a couple of days before. I wonder if it's 3 days as well. I wonder if there is.
Interesting.
I didn't count because obviously I was going through it at the time with my mother when she passed away. But I know it was only, I don't know how many days it was, but it's very, very close to the end. When she started just like, she didn't even know I was in the room, but she kept calling out all her sisters and brothers' names, like talking to Aunt Patty or like Patty, Nancy, like all her brothers and sisters that have already passed away.
Wow.
And one that was still alive and still like she's the only sister left of 9 kids.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean it was within like at least 2 to 3 days. So
I wonder if there is some correlation.
But at the night before she passed away, she wasn't there anymore. I could tell she was lingering in between, and I'm just like, I grabbed her by the hand. I'm like, Mom, it's okay. We're okay. We're sad. We're going to miss you, but you're not leaving really. You're just moving on. And 4:00 in the morning, I got the call from my dad that she had passed, and it just started. I mean, I still freaked out. Even though it was like mentally, it had been so long and she was sick for so long, I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
You're still not ready for when it actually happens. And it's
right.
This crazy. But yeah, I felt like I helped her like kind of get over that leap, but I've never seen anybody before they've passed away or that would bother me. I think.
Especially at such well, I guess if you didn't put it 2 and 2 together until years later, but I feel like that would be so scary.
I will admit that I always kind of walk around with this sense of dread. Like, okay, what happens if I have a dream like this and it's not a situation where it's someone whose time is just naturally there? What if it's another situation like that first one? What do I do? It's like, do I go to this person and say, hey, listen, I need you to go to the doctor like right now? I mean, depending on the situation, I might do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but the 3 might have already been started in the process, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
But then if you don't, then you just have to like live with it for the rest of your life. Like, maybe I should have said something. Yes.
Right.
This is reason number 4,782 why I don't want to be psychic.
At this point in my life, I very rarely recall dreams.
Really?
which
Oh, okay.
I'm okay with because
Yeah.
I get so much when I'm awake that it's
Right.
almost like that's become my rest time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your safe space.
Right. Well, even, I mean, I can give an example of a time I was sleeping here at FCI and woke up and there was someone in the room with me.
See, no,
And
that's
just
not okay.
to me, that was a very simple no. I'm going to be back tomorrow. If there's something you need to tell me, you can come and see me then, but this is off limits. My sleep time is off limits.
Yeah.
So maybe that has translated over into dreams a little bit and just that staunch no, this is my safe time.
Right. I mean, I'm sure it is. There's anytime I have anything that's like that I would even remotely consider to be any sort of ability, it's when I'm sleeping. So, I mean, I know for a fact that they definitely can visit you and spread messages while you're sleeping. So at least you figured out how to turn it off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't claim to have any. Oh, go ahead, man.
Oh no, I was going to say I did sleep here during con a couple of weeks ago, and I did wake up one of those 2 nights recalling some images that came to me, but I know they absolutely relate to the room that I was sleeping in and something that I was picking apart.
Huh.
Was that the room that you've been talking about quite frequently online?
No, this is one that I've hardly talked about at all. There's always something new.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, the one that I've been talking about a lot of things moved over the course of the last 2 weeks. And I feel like kind of a year's work, something I've been picking at here for a year, has really just shifted and come into light in a sense where I can look at it and go, okay, this is it.
Yeah. That is really interesting.
There's always something new, though.
Yeah. That's wild.
I feel the same way about Madison. There's always something different. Like, I mean, I can't get into it as deeply on the level that you do, but there's always different activity. Like, it seems like, you can go a month later and the hub of activity is in a different area of the building. It's just, it's like I said, it shifts and it moves, and it's like, it's fun. That's why you want to keep going back, because it's like a mystery. Like, where's it going to be tonight? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Last week, I had someone here with me when we were kind of pulling all the pieces together and bringing this to a close. And there was something I needed to take care of in regard to the situation. And I remember walking up the stairs and looking at the person that was with me and saying to her, now that this is cleared up, I'm wondering what's next. They were just kind of like, no, what's next? Not yet.
Take a deep breath, take a break, go outside, stretch.
Yeah.
And, Madison would be like an all new grounds for me. I've only been there once. I was there for con last year. And the only time I went into the building was to use the restroom when I left my table and stopped doing readings. But I will get a chance to go investigate that before con this year. So I'm really excited about that.
I'm excited too.
I'm excited to see what you pick up on.
Oh, yes.
Cons are really hard to do anything that's not, they're so chaotic.
Yeah.
even when you do the actual investigations at nighttime, like, it's still very, like, everybody's just having a good time,
Right. I just read Mama Bear's question there.
Yeah.
Saying, do you get overwhelmed sometimes being around a lot of people? I really don't. Because to me, what I do is so specific to those that have moved on. So when I'm in a large group of people, I wouldn't consider myself to be an empath in that traditional sense, that I'm picking up what the living people around me are feeling and going through.
Okay.
It's pretty specific that I'm picking up those that are no longer here. And when I need to put my foot down and say, no, not now, like when I'm laying in bed at night sleeping or trying to fall asleep, no, we're not doing this. I can put that out there and usually hold my ground.
So what if somebody comes to you at nighttime and it's like somebody you've never seen before, and they are trying to help you solve their murder or something? Would you be like, come back tomorrow, or would you try to help them?
Fucking nighttime, man. Come back tomorrow.
That's a really good question. I might entertain with it for a while and just see kind of what's going on and get to a point where I've got some information and can write some things down.
Yeah.
And then my next step might be to potentially say, you know what, if I'm going to be of any use to you, I need my sleep.
Right. Yeah, true.
I just can't even imagine.
One of the
No, that'd be freaky.
biggest experiences I can think of someone coming to me that I'd never seen before. It was a new area. I have a friend that lived in a condo that was built on the grounds of a former sanatorium.
Oh,
Oh wow.
nice.
And one of the most fascinating things, just a little aside about those grounds, that sanitarium had a director who had this thing about planting rare and exotic trees.
Oh,
And there were all of these rare and exotic trees thriving there. Trees that are not native to the United States, trees that are not native to North America. This is in Milwaukee. I mean, trees that should not be thriving in a cold Milwaukee winter, and they're thriving.
wow.
So now these trees are actually protected by the city. But I remember going there to dog sit for her and laying there in bed, and it was just like one after another after another. It was like, I need one night. Give me one night. And that tree right outside this window, tomorrow I will go sit under that tree and I will sit there until we take care of what we need to take care of. Give me tonight. I slept like a baby for the rest of the night. Next night I went out there, I sat under that tree. Some time went by and I got some of the same ones, some different ones. And after what I had thought, okay, I've been out here about 20 minutes. It's quieted down. I'm going to go in. I'd been out there 3 hours.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Holy shit.
Just sitting under the tree. It was a peaceful summer night.
Oh my goodness. So, okay, like explain to me what that looks like for you. Like you're sitting there. Do you
Good
actually see the people standing there and, see their clothes, see what they're wearing, see, their features, and actually like, does it look like a conversation with one of us, or is it like things that you envision in your head?
That's a great question. Sometimes it's very clear. Sometimes it's like there is someone absolutely standing in front of me and I am carrying on a conversation with them. There are other times where it's more just an imprint or what we might call a shadow.
Okay.
Like when I mentioned waking up here that night and seeing this figure in the room, that was a shadow to me. It was like, nope, not tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's times where it is like a back and forth dialogue. And there's other times where it's just a sense of knowing.
Okay.
Where I might think a question and just, it's there. I just know the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so cool. I have had that happen to me before where I just know things and I don't know how I know them, but I just know them. Like my brain thought it. That's how I describe it. Like my brain just thought it and knows it, but I can't tell you how. Like it's just
absolutely. One of my
coming from the girl that doesn't want to be psychic is psychic.
I know. I'm okay with that kind of stuff though, because I'm not seeing things.
Yeah.
Nothing's waking me up in the middle of the night.
I had a woman come to me for a reading at a festival several years ago back in Milwaukee. And when she came up, she sat down and she had a tattoo of an elderly woman on her arm. And underneath it said grandma. And I said, that is an absolutely beautiful tattoo. And she said, thank you. What can you tell me about her? And I was like, well, she's still alive. And this woman was like appalled. She was like, why would you say that? And I was like, because she's not dead. Therefore, she's still alive. And then this woman looked at me and said, well, you're absolutely right.
What the?
She was trying to trick you?
She was testing you? Oh, wow.
She just didn't understand how I knew that. Because, I mean, to me, it would be a natural assumption. You see a tattoo of this woman that says grandma. One might assume they're deceased. And I was just like, well, she's still alive. How do you know? Because she's not dead. How do you know? I just do. I have no explanation for it.
I mean, I would hope that she believed literally every word out of your mouth after that, because that was like a big
Right.
test.
She was very receptive to her reading after that.
Mhm. So,
I see Patience wrote something too. What did she say?
Yeah,
Where'd
I'll
it
bring
go?
it back up. She said, "Did Christopher tell you about the night we slept here and the person messed with me?"
That is a new one of my favorite rooms. You know, I have a new favorite room here every other week. It's like there's always something. But this is room 315, and I was only in there recently for the first time. For the last year that I've been here, I've heard people talk about going into that room and encountering a very angry older woman. Just you're hit with this wall of anger.
Mhm.
And I never went in there. It wasn't because I didn't want to encounter that, just there was always something else calling my attention. So one night at Flashlight Tours, I was doing readings and someone came into my room and said, "Can you come in a room with me?" Sure. So we went upstairs, went right up to 315, and I thought, well, this is going to be fun. I've never been in here. So I went in and I was instantly hit with that wall of anger that everybody described.
Oh,
And
wow.
just as quickly, that faded away into, why has it taken you so long to come
Aw.
see me?
Oh boy.
And from there, it was, I'm going to cry. From there,
Yeah.
it was like, I'm trying to communicate with these people and they don't understand me. I know
Aw.
you will understand me.
Yeah.
And I went to the corner where she sat and I felt like I was just holding her and I was crying. I'm like, I'm so sorry that I've not come to see you. And then it's like, oh, I need to sleep in this room.
Oh.
So Patience and I
That'll be the
both
last
slept
thing that
in
I
that
said, by
room.
the way.
Not the first thing that. Yeah, that's the first thing that would come to my head either. You know what? I think I agree with
Patience and I both slept in that room the week before con. And that night, and even during con, this woman was just messing with her all night. She didn't
Nice.
sleep at
no.
all. Didn't mess with me. I slept like a baby,
Yeah.
but was messing with her all night to the point where at one point I woke up and I even had to be like, can you stop? Will you leave her alone? Because now you're waking me up.
Oh my goodness.
That
Yeah,
is so funny.
I feel like there's probably a lot of that where they're misunderstood and, you know, it comes across as anger. But like, I mean, I'm just picturing a woman standing there screaming, like, can you hear me? You know, and
Yeah.
of course she's getting frustrated and of course she's angry. Can you imagine like all these people coming in and talking to you, but nobody's ever actually listening? Like, I'd be angry too.
Absolutely. And when I said a little while ago, there was a night here where I woke up remembering some impressions from the night that I believe came through in dreams. That was the room. And they
Really.
were impressions
Oh,
of
wow.
her. Throughout the night, I was getting these impressions of her at all different stages of her life and what she was feeling at those stages.
See, that's kind of cool. I still don't want
Yeah.
to be psychic, but that's really cool.
We are.
I
I
mean-
think we all are, just in a little bit of way. Just some of us, our sense isn't as awakened as others.
Yeah. But Christopher always just makes it seem so magical.
Yeah.
It
I
is
still got to
for
get her.
me. It is.
He does make it seem like it's something that we should all do.
Yeah.
You know, just like so
Yeah.
natural, and like we should just go
Right.
into an abandoned building and just sit down and talk to
Yeah.
these dead
And
people.
everything's beautiful and magical and wonderful. Like,
Right.
Eyes
I
of
go
the-
in and I sit down and I hold out my hands and just
you do.
it's like Snow White walking into the forest. Just all the birds come and land in her hand.
Well, I mean, the first time I met you was at a location that we won't describe. But you had a cape on. Like, okay, number one, you're magical. And you walked into a room and Shelly and I were there and she said hi. And then you said, hang on, someone needs me upstairs. And you just whisked away to go talk to the woman who had been calling you from upstairs. And I was like, I love him.
That happens a lot. Like I can be in the middle of a conversation and it's, oh, I've got to go.
Yeah.
And, I'm noticing that the more I do this, that the more people will see it happen and they're kind of like, oh, I want to go for this ride. So,
Yeah,
and
right.
I've led people on some pretty insane excursions, like through tunnels and various rooms and buildings, because I'm trying to figure out exactly where this is coming from. So
Great.
I've dragged some people on some pretty epic adventures.
Yeah, it was very clear that you had a mission, and I was like, all right, cool, I'll talk to him later.
I'd be following him around. I'd be like, don't go too fast. Let me try to catch up with you.
I'd
Some
be
people
outside
do.
smoking,
I've
waiting for you guys
definitely
to tell
been,
me what went down.
yeah. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
times
Henry
where
was
people come with
following.
me, and there's other times where I just end up by myself because it's like, oh, gotta go.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like you have to concentrate. Like, I don't know. I just don't want to be like in the way and asking questions like, who is it? What's she saying now? Like, I feel like that's very distracting and you're on a mission.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, did Mama Bear say something?
She wants to know. She wants to hear about past lives. Do we need to do something special for you to read us?
You don't have to do anything special. I mean, usually I just have a person with me and I do the reading. No, there's nothing you have to do to prepare for a past life reading.
Now, are you the type of psychic that will be just walking around some random, like, say you're grocery shopping, and you like something pulls you to somebody, like it's pretty hardcore? Do you speak to them, or you just kind of in your own way deal with it and walk out? And it's, you know what I mean?
That's a good
Like,
question.
I usually don't say something. I can probably count on one hand the times where I've actually gone up to someone and just said one or two words and then walked away because I felt that's all that they needed.
yeah.
Probably on one hand.
Really?
Yeah.
Hello,
Hey,
Shelley.
Shelley.
I mean, does that happen a lot?
It doesn't. About as close as I get, I will be somewhere and I will see a living person, and quite often it's apparent to me who is with them.
Yeah.
But just because I know that someone's with them, that to me doesn't mean I need to say or do anything.
Right.
And there are other instances where I feel like, ooh, this person has something to say, but I don't quite feel right doing it. So it's those instances that I can count on one hand where I actually did feel the need to go up and say whatever it is I had to say.
Oh, you're not going to tell us an example? I want to know.
Like, you go up and say, "You stink."
Was it?
It's not
was
for
it
me,
like-
though.
I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about, man?
Right.
Was it like the person that was with them was like really, really screaming at you more than normal? And like, is that what you felt you needed to?
Usually it's more that I feel that there's this sense of importance over what they have to say. Like, ooh, this is kind of life-changing and they need to hear this. Back in Milwaukee, I owned a dance studio. And we would do this festival every year where we'd be out in a tent for 4 days and dancing and just having fun. And a woman came up to our tent, and I remember looking at her and the person that was with her, and just I could tell she was not aware this person was with her. And there was just this intensity. It wasn't even the immediate screaming like, hey, I've got something to tell you. It was just this intensity, this dead focus, like right on me. And that was enough to get my attention, where I was just kind of like, what? And I got this impression of first floor, bedroom, east wall.
Okay.
And I just kept seeing this intensity, like focused right here. So I'm like, okay, I went up to this woman and I said, I don't know that I can offer you an explanation, but first floor, bedroom, east wall. And she said, what? And I said, have you been looking for something?
Oh.
It's like, I don't know. I can't think of anything. And I said, have you been looking for something that would relate to an older man? And then I described him, and she just, just the look on her face was. So she ended up leaving, and I thought, I'm never going to see this woman again. Well, I did end up seeing this woman again as I was at this tent promoting the studio and such. My address and everything was everywhere. She came to see me a week later, and there were some documents that were missing, some important legal documents.
Oh my goodness.
And she found them hidden in that wall.
Wow, that's
Holy
awesome.
crap.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I mean, she didn't even call me up. She just came right to the studio.
Yeah, no.
She's like,
That
oh,
needs
we've
be
got to
talked about in
talk.
person. Yeah, for sure. Are we getting Tina's question back up?
Yeah.
Tina said, have you ever met someone and just felt like you could not do a reading for them for whatever reason?
No, I haven't. And I think the reason for that, I have two thoughts here. One, I recently had an experience, actually it was at FCICon, where I did a reading for someone, and I was told ahead of time that nobody can ever read this person, and I did an 8-card spread and just laid it all out there. So I think the reason that doesn't happen to me is because I tend to dig so deep with my readings. I mean, I don't just look at a card and give a simple 3-word answer. I don't just look at a card and regurgitate to you the traditional meaning of this card. I mean, I dig deep and I circle back and I connect things, and there's layers.
Mm-hmm.
And even those people that come to me and think, oh, nobody can read me. Well, I'm going to give you something, whether you like it or not.
Has anybody been upset with what you've given them? Like what message you came forward with?
I have had a few people that clearly did not get the answer they were looking for.
Makes sense.
I mean, that's understandable.
And I always like to tell people, if you don't like the answer you got, or if you don't like an outcome where something is headed, it is up to you to take control of it.
Mm-hmm.
Change the course, make sure it doesn't go that way. It is all on you. No one's going to do it for you.
Okay.
And some people hate that even more because, I mean, frankly, some people are now like, oh, now I have to do something.
Yeah. And accountability is a huge issue these days too. People don't want to ever admit that they can make it better, that they can do things. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants their cards to say like, oh, you're going to have a rich uncle that you didn't know about that's going to hand you $10 million. Nobody wants to hear like, hey, work hard. People don't want that. Well, Becca was telling us one time that sometimes she doesn't like to do like the personal readings because sometimes it's not always nice what the person on the other side is saying. Maybe it's your aunt coming through and she's saying, I'm sick and tired of her pretending like we had such a good relationship and we didn't get along and all this other stuff. Like, how do you say that to a person when they're like, is my aunt coming through? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be a reason that you just don't want to do a reading for somebody.
And to me, if I were in a situation like that, I might express to her or the person in front of me that, yes, your aunt is coming through. And I think she's got some different viewpoints on things than you do. And we might want to take a look at that. Why might that be? Why might I feel that she's got some different viewpoints? And I might put it in their lap to see what they say. Yeah. And then I'll find a way to kind of layer that back without just throwing it at them and saying,
Yeah.
We also say argue through you.
That has happened.
Listen, Aunt Shirley.
You tell her. You tell her that I'm.
Tina
I
said
see
she would
Tina
want to
just
go
said-
the bad with the good.
Absolutely. And, quite often, whether it's just through that sense of knowing or if it's something that I pick up from cards, I often look at something and think to myself, oh, shit. Like, I don't want to say this,
Yeah.
but I will. I always, always, always will, because it's not up to me to hide it.
Yeah. And I feel like you are so eloquent and just genuinely kind that it doesn't come across as mean or, or bad or anything. So I wouldn't see people getting mad at you.
It doesn't happen very often. I mean, I usually try to put everything out there in a way that is not going to be perceived as I'm attacking someone, or, I mean, I always try to be as compassionate as I can.
Yeah.
So we got a question from Tina. Tina Frick is an awesome friend of ours. Love her to death. She's like actually our team psychic medium. We love her to
Nice.
death. Super gifted. Kind of my mentor a little bit with some things that I've been working on myself. But she said she's been reading Rider-Waite since she was 11 years old. She dreams often that she's in the cards, and the card images move while she's reading them. She wants to know what deck you read with.
I love this so much for so many reasons. I mean, first of all, I started reading Rider when I was 10 years old, around that same time that I had that experience with dreaming of someone's passing. I remember buying this deck of tarot cards with birthday money from Grandma and Grandpa because I had to have it.
Yeah.
But currently, and most frequently, I read with the Wild Unknown.
Okay.
The Wild Unknown is a fabulous deck. To me, let me see if I can dig out some pieces here. It does a really nice job balancing energies in the sense of, I mean, one, we've got just that little bit of color in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the way it balances color and black and white, and to me, that's just so pretty. It's such a pretty card. But it also balances beauty with things that are a bit more grotesque.
Wow.
Oh, wow. I've never seen a deck like that.
That's intense.
Really neat. Yeah,
It's very different. And, this is actually my second copy of this deck. You can see that this one's pretty worn and beaten up as well. The first one just gave up its ghost. It just died. And I had to get another one. This deck is well worn and well up.
Does that actually happen? Will you just be using a deck so much that eventually it just kind of, for lack of a better term, peters out?
Yeah, well, it's more like you just can't shuffle them anymore. You can't mix them anymore because they're so used and so bent. Just had to get rid of them.
So I had a question too. Oh, sorry, Randy. I'll get to that in a second. You mentioned buying the tarot cards with your birthday money. Were your parents and your family like supportive of you doing that, or was it something that you just kind of had to hide and do on your own?
I don't think they really thought too much about it because fortunately by that point I'd already been gifted my first spirit board. So I was.
You're well on your way.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was just kind of a natural progression that the cards would come next, but I'd already been working with the spirit board for a bit at that point.
Okay.
Did you just say you got that as a gift, the spirit board?
Yes, from the person that passed, that I had that dream.
Wow.
No kidding. Wow.
That's wild.
That's
yes. Yeah. Can you believe that? She gifted me with this board and then she just launched me into my life.
That's probably why she went to you, because she knew that you would do it. Like she knew that you would hear her.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
That is awesome. That's amazing.
And nowadays you don't even want to know how many spirit boards and how many decks of cards I have. It's insane.
Well, I can tell you of at least 2, possibly 3.
There's worse hobbies you can have and worse collections.
I agree. It's not hoarding if it's books, tarot cards, or spirit boards.
Thank you. Or crystals.
Yes.
Or just rocks in general.
Yes, there's a fine line between hoarding and collection.
I was going to say, you're just going to name everything and then we'll just...
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much.
You just keep
I see a
everything
question
organized.
here.
Yeah, this is
What-
such a good
Yeah.
question.
So Randy Zimmerman, we had him on last week from Boss Paranormal. He wanted to know. He has a question. How long does it take for its spirit once? Wait. How long
Once they
does it
cross
take
over.
for its spirit once they cross over to come back? I hear a lot of psychics say different things. What's your take?
Well, I feel like there are some that never come back because I feel like there are some that just don't make it all the way over. I mean, I feel like I hate to use the word stuck because I don't like how that feels,
Yeah.
but that's the word. And I mean, if you're stuck, I don't think you're going to come back. I think there are also some that never come back because they've done everything that they need to do.
That makes
That
sense.
makes sense.
I'm still going to keep that thought, but I also see Dawn's question there. I'm going to get to that one next.
Yeah.
In regard to those that don't come back because they've done everything that they need to do, I feel that those that do cross over and they've not done everything they need to do, sometimes there's just a big lesson that needs to be learned, something that needs to be finished. I think those are the ones that come back more quickly.
Okay.
You know, really, I think the possibilities are endless. Do I think some get to choose to come back and some don't? Yeah, probably.
Right.
I've always kind of had this theory, and I'm literally just pulling it out of my ass and from personal experience, but I have this theory that like immediately after somebody passes, and honestly, sometimes a little bit before, they tend to like visit family, or like people who are super close to them. And then after that, it might be a while before anybody sees or hears from them again. But I feel like there's so many stories of people seeing their grandma a minute after she passes away and they haven't even been told yet. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that happens so quickly sometimes. And then sometimes it'll be like, oh, somebody's been dead for 10 years, but nobody's ever talked to them. They've never come across in a reading, nothing.
Right. You know, I've had people that I've talked to that have said they've felt this person, that person, and then it's like they were gone, or it's like they come and go, and there are these long intervals where they don't hear from them. And I've touched on some very specific instances where, you know, this is pretty deep, but I was talking to a young woman who had a family member that had unfortunately committed suicide. And when I started to tap into that energy, as we talked about it, I just found myself relaxing. I felt my shoulders dropping. I felt everything was okay. Everything was at peace. I'm like, my God, you're not going to feel them all the time because they are off and experiencing life in a way that they never have before.
Right.
It's like while they were here, there was something that just could not be quieted. And now it's quiet. They're at peace. They're not gone. They're here, but you might not feel them all the time because they're doing some pretty amazing things right now.
And not to be, I mean, this is a very tough subject, obviously, but when somebody commits suicide, they feel like nobody loves them. They feel like the world is better off without them. And then maybe just visiting their family and seeing all of these people who loved them, like all, you know, the people at the funeral, there's pictures of you all over. There's so many people crying, so many people saying like, I loved them. I wish I could have done something. I wish they were still here. Like maybe that's what they needed and they couldn't get it while they were alive. And so they get that peace, you know, and knowing that people loved them tremendously. And then that was what they needed.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
You know, even at the seminary, we've had people say that, you know, people have crossed over because these patients spent their entire lives with nobody caring about them. And then here we come and we're like, oh, do you need anything? Is there anything I can get for you? It was so nice to talk to you, you know, and then that's what they needed. They just needed somebody to love them.
Right.
People are having some wild stories in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Shelley's about her cousin calling her phone.
Yeah.
I saw that one. And I want to answer Dawn's question too. I saw that go by a couple times about tarot and oracle cards.
Yeah.
When I do a reading for someone, I traditionally only use tarot cards. And 90% of the time it's the same deck. It's my trusty Wild Unknown. Every now and then in my hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of decks at home, I'll know that I'm doing a reading for someone and something will jump out at me and I'll go, oh, I have to use this deck for this person, even though I've never used that deck before. It's like, oh, and there's a few people that I read for on a regular basis that now they have their own deck because something like
Nice.
that happened. It's like, oh, this is your deck. I get excited.
Nice.
But if I do use an oracle deck, it's for a very specific purpose, usually in conjunction with tarot. Like if I do a distance Reiki session for someone, I will use a Reiki oracle deck and I'll take one card as my focus for the session and what I really need to focus on.
Mhm.
And then I will do a 7-card tarot spread, one representing each of the main chakras.
Mhm.
So there I'm using a combination of tarot and oracle. But if I use oracle, it's for a very specific purpose and it's usually in conjunction with tarot, not as a standalone.
Can I ask a really stupid question?
Yes,
It's
that's
pro-
what
it's
we're here for. It's a show.
What
of
is the
stupid
difference
questions.
between an oracle deck and a tarot deck?
So there are many traditional tarot decks and there are many non-traditional tarot decks. If you look at the Rider-Waite tarot deck, that's very, very traditional. It's got the major arcana, the minor arcana. A traditional tarot deck will have the same 78 cards.
Okay.
Usually that minor arcana is divided up into 4 suits, just like a traditional deck of cards would be.
Okay.
An oracle deck doesn't have to be that way. An oracle deck can be 10 cards, 20 cards, 30 cards, usually centered around a standard theme,
Okay.
but that's about it.
Okay.
Okay. So I have, and this was gifted to me by the Santoris. It's a rune deck basically. So it's runes, but it's got the beautiful artwork and like the description of the rune and the name of the rune on each deck. So that would be considered an oracle deck because it's not the standard like 70 some cards and it's
Mhm.
just the runes.
Right.
Okay. All right. I'm
Yep.
just curious because I've heard the terms used and I've never really stopped to think like what's the difference. I mean, so yeah, that's it. That's all I want to know.
Shelley has a good question too. She said, "How do you suggest a busy mind to be able to meditate?"
Oh, I love this.
Like,
I love this. There's a few pieces here. One, start small. You're not going to go sit in a room and be quiet and think nothing for 30 minutes. You're not going to start that way.
Fact.
Start small. Start with 2 minutes. And also when you start, to think that you absolutely need to clear your mind. It's not going to happen. Thoughts are going to come and then they should go. And you should be able to honor that process while you're meditating. When the thoughts come, let them go. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that they came. Doesn't matter where they came from. Just stick to what you're doing. Another thing that I like to tell people to do when they're first starting out, especially if they have a busy mind, take something practical, something that you do every single day, and turn it into a meditation.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Go and water your garden.
Yeah.
And allow yourself to be 100% present in the moment, watering your garden. Let all of your senses get involved. Take your favorite coffee cup to the sink and wash it by hand and let all of your senses get involved. How does that feel? What are you feeling with the water in your hands? What are you smelling? Just let all of your senses get involved in this simple, mundane task. If you can do that and not think about what you need to make for dinner, what you need to do tomorrow at work, you just meditated.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Because really, anytime I've had like one of those thoughts where it's like, I know it's not my thought, somebody's telling me something, usually it's about the seminary, but that always seems to happen when I'm doing the dishes or when I'm taking a shower or something that's like a thoughtless process that you do all the time. That's like when my brain calms down and I can actually have those sort of thoughts.
I totally get that. Another really simple one that I often tell people to do, just in the middle of your day, step outside and become aware of something you can see, become aware of something you can hear, become aware of something you can feel, something you can touch. If that means you have to pick something up, fine. Be aware of something that you can taste. And I mean, I'm not suggesting picking something up off the ground and putting it in your mouth, but just trying to engage that sense, even if it's through more, okay, what would this taste like? If I were able to reach up there right now and pull that apple off that tree, how would that taste?
Right.
That to me is meditation. It does not have to be sitting alone in a room with your legs crossed, upright posture. I love that. I love that concept. I love doing that.
Yeah.
But that's not everybody's answer.
No.
Right.
No. And the whole thought of like that in traditional meditation, step one is to clear your mind. When you have ADHD, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then I'm so focused on
or depression or anxiety or any of the other.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting there trying to clear my mind. I'm trying to listen to the guided meditation, but I'm also like mad at myself. Like, stop thinking about that. You're supposed to be clearing your brain. Like, why are you thinking about that now? That's so dumb. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, then it's anxiety. Like that was pointless. I'm not any more calm.
And the biggest thing I would say to do differently would be just don't get mad at yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you to tune the thoughts out. Let them come, let them go. But don't get mad at yourself over it. It's natural.
I mean, I love the idea of like accepting it. Like, okay, cool. I know I'm going to have these thoughts. Just let them go. It's fine. We don't have to like focus on where they came from or why are you thinking about that now? Like, I like that. Just let it go.
Absolutely. And, when I teach meditation classes, I tell people too, if you really have to have a notebook there, if something comes to you and you're going to think, oh, I can't forget this, this is important, write it down, set it down, and go back to your practice.
Yeah, that's good.
Whatever you have to do, there's so many different ways. I mean, I would think that anybody listening to this show tonight, nobody's going to be there to judge you on your meditation practice, how you're doing it and how you're not doing it. So make it your own.
That's true.
Right.
Randy
I won't even judge you.
Randy says he meditates after working out.
I've been trying to, and you guys, I've shared it online. Like I'll find somewhere to park while I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could be just a local park. It could be, I mean, usually if it's just an empty parking lot, I won't take pictures of that. But I will sit. I'll get out of my truck and I'll go like walk away because I work in healthcare, and I'm delivering it's home healthcare, and I'm in patients. Some of the situations are not good, so it's a lot of stress. And there's a point in the day where I feel like if I don't do this, I'm going to go to a dark place. So I will find somewhere and I'll pull over, even if it's just for 5 minutes, and I'll like find some grass, sit on it, look at the trees or something, and just be in the moment.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is to go up towards the lake. Like, especially like today, I was in East Lake. I sat in a parking lot and I could only see about that much of the lake coming through this little development across the street. But I'm just like, and I could just see the water and I can start hearing it and I can start smelling it. And it's like, there's something so zen about being near water.
Yep.
I do that all like tomorrow. I'm probably going to be in the west side of Cleveland. So my favorite spot is Huntington Beach. So if I can get there, I will. And I go sit on the swing right at the edge, and I sit there and I just focus on the lake, and it feels amazing. And I feel like I feel reinvigorated, like refocused, and I can usually finish the day. Sometimes it's at the end of the day, anyways. But because I can't leave the area, I got to wait till such a time, and then I can leave. But it feels amazing. So I totally love that answer, because it could be whatever you connect with can help you get to where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Hi, Kathy. I see. Yeah, being in the moment. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. I do. I love that you mentioned watering your garden too, because
Yeah.
that's like one of my favorite things to do.
I'm a huge gardener. You just spoke to my soul.
Yeah, I love it. And it's there's something so magical about it. Like you can, and especially if you do like any kind of preservation, like if you do canning or whatever, like you could take a little tiny seed and you could turn it into food. You know what I mean? And just like using the earth and the water. And I'm all like, I nerd out about it. I love my garden so much.
Same. It's my absolute happy place in the summer.
Yeah. I don't like weeding. I'm not going to lie. My friend Anne is like, it's so relaxing. It's not to me. But I do love being out there.
I think it's relaxing too. It's meditative to me.
No, it's not. It's rage inducing to me.
You should turn it around and make it kind of like a way to like release some of that anger you already have, or some of that anxiety. Take it out on the weeds. Just, like, rip them out. Like I throw them.
Yeah.
Something I can
go back to
control.
Randy's
Each weeded name, someone that you might have an issue with that day. With each weeded name, and I just pull it out.
It's something that you have control over, and you can just get rid of it and be done with it. And just connect it to whatever's bothering you that day.
Idea. Yeah.
Do you believe they can go back and forth through portals?
I am going to say that the word portal is something that I use very infrequently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't throw that word around very often. I can, again, like one hand, probably think of the number of times where I've comfortably used that word and said I felt like a place had that type of energy.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think when something like that is established or does establish, they can go back and forth, even within one specific place. And I think that's an energy that I've encountered before. Like there's something at this end of a building, something at this end of a building. This is how it's moving about.
Okay.
But that's just not a word that I throw around very lightly.
Yeah.
I have to feel that really strongly with every fiber of my being to start saying that I feel that that's something that's there.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I'm not psychic, but I agree with you. I feel like that word's thrown around very often. And I feel like people always forget about the people that tag along with them. You know what I mean? Like if I have people with me, people forget about that and they're like, oh, there's new spirits here. There must be a portal. And I'm like, no, I brought them with me. You know, like, not everything is about a portal.
It's
like
my squad. What are you talking about?
Right? My entourage.
But these guys, no, that's fine. I just feel like demon and portal are thrown around way too often.
Don't get me started on that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, demon is a word that you'll hear me use even less frequently than portal. I mean, that's really not something you'll hear me throw around.
I don't know if we already answered or talked about Nancy's question earlier about, do you think that people go to heaven or hell?
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't particularly engage with that belief or that energy for myself.
Okay.
And, you know, personally, I'm pagan.
Mm-hmm.
And in my path, in my belief structure, I don't look at there being a heaven or a hell. I feel like that's very much a part of a specific religious doctrine. Mm-hmm. And I also feel that demons are very much a part of a very specific religious doctrine, and that's not a religious doctrine that I prescribe to. But for those that do prescribe to those particular religious doctrines, those that believe that those are things, I very much believe you create your own reality. So if someone does follow a path where they believe there's a heaven or a hell, then I think you should live your life accordingly, because I think there's definitely something to be said about manifesting whatever it is that we believe in. I mean, that's not a part of my path. But if somebody came up to me and said that that was their belief, I would never sit and tell them, no, that's not a thing. I would never do that.
And I feel like, honestly, a lot of that is just a comfort thing. Oh, I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for this, but I feel like just the belief,
I'm just kidding.
The belief of like, if I'm a good person, I'll go to heaven. And that person is an asshole and they treated me like shit, but it's okay because they're going to go to hell. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's just that comfort in it, and it makes people live their life accordingly. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I personally don't know if I believe in heaven or hell, but I do believe in like, you get what you put into things, you know? So if I do live my life in a way where people would suggest that I would go to heaven, then I feel like something good would happen. But I don't know if I can get behind actual places of heaven and hell.
Well, that's everything. I planned on being an asshole my whole life and then just repenting.
We got a good start, buddy. Good start.
See, I mean,
good start. Bravo.
I know.
You're already way 70% there. Good job.
I know. I'm farther than that.
I see Lucy said she's staying behind and haunting all of us.
Yes. Shelley has
I have a feeling that no matter where I pass away, I'm going to end up right back at FCI.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I know it. I'm going to be wandering this place, haunting everybody here for eternity.
Shelley, where were we that you were like, no, I can't die here. Maybe it was FCI because we were at FCI. And like, no, we have to get to Madison, you know? Like, no, I can't die here.
I'm headed straight here no matter where it happens.
Right, exactly.
They didn't even want me to leave downstairs tonight. They told me, no, don't leave. Don't leave me.
That's so cute. Yeah, it was at FCI, she said.
It was at FCI, yeah.
Gotta be careful. So then...
That's a good idea, Kathy. That's a good thought. So maybe we're preparing for our next life and making it easier.
I'm not quite sure what just happened. Patients just walked by carrying this random screw about this long, just holding it up in the air, walking by from one room to the next. I'm not quite sure what just happened.
Seems normal.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah. So what do you think you believe in reincarnation?
I do believe in reincarnation. That feels good for me. That feels very comfortable for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think one of the, some people are probably going to think I've lost my mind. Wait, some of the other things I've talked about tonight? Okay, never mind.
You're good.
I think one of the greatest examples I've ever seen toward that is like right in my kitchen at home. I have a dog at home that I am certain is another dog come back to me.
Oh.
I mean, my little piggy, my Boston Frenchie mix, was just the greatest dog on the face of the earth. And now I've got little Charles, a little Boston, and I am certain that he is Piggy come back to me. I believe it with every fiber of my being. Like, you can be sitting there in silence and just be like, Piggy, and he'll just sit up and look at you.
Oh.
We always say that our dog was sent to us by our other dogs to get back at us.
Nice. That makes sense. Yeah, I keep telling my kids, because I guess I'm kind of hoping that will happen to me. When Bella passed away, I couldn't imagine like getting another dog. And I keep telling my kids, you know, they're like, when are we going to get another dog? And I'm like, listen, our dog will find us. And I think I just believe that she's there and she'll find her way back. You know, like, it won't obviously be in the same body. That would be scary, but she'll find her way back and it will be reincarnated Bella.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tina said her cat Wednesday came back to her, and it's now Wolfie, which that cat is so cool.
Yeah, I believe it. Like I said, Charles is the best example I can think of. Just he's Piggy.
Yeah. That's so cool.
I've even started calling him Onion Head, which was Piggy's nickname.
Oh, why?
He just looks like an onion. I mean, he's just got this big bulbous head. He looks like an onion.
So cute. Yeah, I was just telling Shelly, because Lucy said she was told she's been reincarnated 2 times. I used to get so mad because my mom used to tell me all the time that I was a new soul, that I was a young soul. And I was like super offended by that. Like, excuse me. She used to tell me that my younger sister she was an old soul, but not you. You're a young soul. And I'm like, that was like, that's mean to say.
I think I'm a middle-aged soul. I
I'm an old soul.
am, but
just because I'm old, not because
I feel like I've been
makes
here
me
a few
like that.
times, but I think there's a few more things I need to learn, and still some journeys left I need to take.
Mm.
I think somebody on the show once told me
Yeah,
that
you're
my soul was
definitely
shattered.
What?
What'd you say?
Somebody told me once my soul was shattered.
Wow.
That's rough.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either, but I was like,
Say that
okay.
to somebody.
This question, how did that make you feel when they said that? What was your instant emotion or reaction?
Okay.
Heisenberg, he doesn't have emotions.
Have a good night, Randy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because his soul is shattered.
Yeah, that's why. Damn it.
Thank you, Tina. I thought that was very offensive.
I don't know if it's offensive
I don't
as
think it's
your
offensive.
soul is shattered. Your soul
Right.
is extreme. Say it. That's like a tongue twister.
Yeah. What you gonna
Don't
do,
mind
right?
the hammering.
What is Patience doing there? Like building
Don't-
I
stuff?
want to go check
She
on
got a
that girl.
screw? She got
Don't mind the show, Patience. I mean, go ahead, hammer.
Probably doing something I wouldn't be doing. You'll never see me with a power tool.
Dawn said that she thinks we've all been around several times.
I think so.
The one thing I'd love to do is find somebody
think
that
so,
can do
too.
a past life regression with me.
See, I'm a little worried about that.
I can do one with you.
Person's like, hello.
Really?
Okay.
I just did
All
one
right.
for someone yesterday.
So let me
Awesome.
discuss what I worry about with doing that then. Because I've heard that if you do that, bye, Holly. If
Have a good night, Holly.
do a past life regression, then it's possible that those memories and those feelings and any traumas and things like that will then be part of your memories now. Does that happen?
I've never seen that happen.
Okay.
I've never seen that happen. I mean, for me, I actually put someone in a hypnotic state when I do a regression. And to me, that is always a safe place.
Okay. So then you think that they just momentarily remember it. And then when they come out of that state, then that's it. It stays where it's at. Okay.
Right. And when I do a regression, I also give people an opportunity when they're on their way back, right before I pull them out, to close any doors that we opened that no longer serve them. That's before I even pull them out of hypnosis.
And that could be current doors too, right? We could just close them all while we're in there.
Absolutely. Because some people go in and they discover something like, oh, this relates to this. And that does not serve me. So absolutely.
I love it.
No, to me, that's a safe place to get done some pretty important work.
Yeah. I feel like I just need to spend like a week with you. Okay. And then maybe we'll get this shit under control.
I would love that. I would love an opportunity to spend a week with all of you.
It was so funny. I told you guys about
here.
He'd go into quick retirement after that week.
I told you guys about my reading at OSR with Christopher. And I was like,
I know you cried.
in there, all tough. Like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. It took me until card 8 to cry, but it was game over after that.
I often cry during readings. I so often cry doing a reading for someone.
It's an emotional experience, though. I mean, I don't understand how you couldn't with the things that you tell people and the ways that you connect to them. I would be crying all the time, too, if I was you.
I was just reading Tina's question. I was just going to ask you about hypnotism. How do you help someone with hypothyroidism? Can you help someone with anxiety or depression? One of the trainings that I've taken in hypnosis, because, other than just a general hypnosis training, there's many specialty things that you can look at. And one of them is looking a little bit at issues and other things like that. And I think if I take the time to talk to someone beforehand,
I don't know
not
what she was trying to say
hypothyroidism.
there.
I'm going to let you finish it. We'll hold that thought.
What's going on these days? July 9th, 10th, and 11th.
21st.
She meant 11th. That's why I did it.
21st.
I have one of those dates in my calendar already. I have one of them blocked off.
Yeah.
I agree with Mama Bear. She said she knows that she has a past life and that's a part of who she is. We talked about that a little bit, and just without even really using cards, I was able to get some images and impressions. And I'm really looking for an opportunity to sit down with Mama Bear and talk this through and find this for you. We will.
I have a feeling that it was either a past life or one of my spirit guides lived in the Great Depression. Like, I always have these like thoughts of like, oh, I can't throw that away. Oh, I have to prepare for this. Oh, I have to whatever. But the worst one, the one that made me like really, this was like the nail in the coffin. Like, this is what made me know. I was walking through Aldi and there was like one of those like rolls of like smoked sausage or whatever. It's like the ones that you can like cut with a knife and you put it on bread, like nasty, like whatever. I don't like them. And I had the thought like, oh, we should get that and put it up for a rainy day. And I was like, what? Listen, old lady who follows me around and tells me things.
I've been thinking you've been losing your mind for a while, Denise, and I think it's time that we need to start talking about it.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Oh my goodness.
Tina, just get ready to cry if you're going to get a reading.
Oh, I'd love to do a reading for you sometime. And I will say that I don't get them very often either. I don't tend to read for myself. I can actually tell you exactly the last time I had a reading. It was summer solstice 2019.
Oh, wow.
Wow. It's been a minute.
I remember it because I was at this precipice looking toward a dramatic life change, and a friend offered to do a reading, and he used a very traditional spread, a spread that I know well. Sometimes I use traditional spreads, sometimes I don't. When you've been working with cards for 30 years, there's lots of different things you can do with them. But he's using this traditional spread, and he'd go to turn a card, and I would tell him what it was going to be.
Oh.
And then it was. And after like 4 of these, he said to me, do you really need this reading? It sounds like you know pretty well where you're headed. And now I'm crying. I'm like, just keep going as he's doing my reading. So he gets to the card symbolizing hopes and fears. And I'm like, it's the Tower. I'm going to die. I'm going to make the wrong decision. And everything's going to fall apart.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it was the Tower, and it was reversed. It was reversed, and everything I was so afraid of just melted away right then and there. And here I am. That drastic life change came to be. I mean, it was going to come to be whether or not I had that reading.
Yeah.
I just remember sitting there and telling him what card it was going to be.
That's pretty funny.
Aww.
I don't think I've ever had a tarot card reading ever.
Yeah,
Don't think I have.
You have.
Have I?
Tina gave one to you.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Tina.
In the radio station, what she said is becoming pretty true. She really expounded that Lincoln was going to become a very, like, you guys were going to be like close friends. Like
we
a
argue
deeper
every day.
relationship.
Yeah.
That sounds like a best friend to me.
Because
Yeah, he is my best friend.
so Tina was trying to say hypnotism, not hypothyroidism.
Okay, her question popped
Yeah,
back
we
up
said
here.
we'd go back to that, but
Can
we
you
didn't
help
know what
someone with anxiety or depression?
hypnotism. Yeah.
You know, I have worked with people through hypnotism that deal with anxiety and depression, but I will say that I am not a doctor, so I cannot cure someone of those things. Can I do things that I think will help them? Yes. But I would never say that I could get rid of those things for someone.
Yeah.
But
Good night, Kathy.
just
Love you.
Hey, Kathy.
speaking from
Good night,
personal
Kathy.
experience. Good night, Kathy. I know that I've spoken to a few people who have said that your readings have changed their life. So, I mean, I know that you're obviously not putting out a sign that says I'm a therapist and can cure your depression, you know, or whatever. But just the things that you say, and again, it's the way you speak and how eloquent you are and how calming you are. Because as somebody with ADHD and anxiety, like I'm already like super stressed out about it, and you're just like so calming. But I know that you do help with things, and maybe your intention is not to cure somebody's depression or anxiety, but like, okay, we're gonna get super personal. My reading, you told me that I need to give myself permission to be happy. Okay. That is something I have never been able to do for many reasons that we will not get into on this show. But that, even just you saying that, I do think about it every day. And every time that I'm like stressing about something, I'm like, listen, Christopher said to give yourself permission to be happy. So maybe you're not trying to cure those things, but you do.
And I like giving people small practical steps toward what they need to do. So instead of me sitting there and like yelling at you and telling you, why don't you just be happy? It's like, give yourself permission to. Let's start there.
And I even cried, and I was like, how? I don't know how to do that. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I didn't tell you to just be happy. I said, maybe give yourself permission to think about being happy. And I was like, okay, I could do that. That's a little tiny step.
Yeah, that's like a little spoonful, or you just kind of chew on it a little bit and kind of get the full taste of the idea of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just little tiny baby steps.
Yeah.
And
I find my happiness and anxiety is regulated by medication.
There you go. That works too.
Hey, whatever helps, man. I'm kind of the same boat. Yep.
But it did help a lot.
I'm glad. Very glad.
I definitely, 10 out of 10 recommend. Everybody get a reading.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Speaking of getting a reading, we had discussed maybe doing just a mini reading for somebody. Hey, Heisenberg. You throw Heisenberg. I like one. I don't know.
Heisenberg.
Denise is already. Yeah, Heisenberg.
Are you closed book?
What?
Do you like build a wall around you?
I feel like he's a tough. Like I want to have one with you, but I kind of want it one-on-one. So
right.
Goose actually told me he was scared to get a reading from you.
I've heard so much. Like
I'm just going to throw you under the bus.
I'm like, yeah, well, it's not so much fear as like well, yeah, it is fear. It really is because I'm like, he's going to throw something at me.
You build a border and wall around you. There is no fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Heisenberg's the tough nut to crack. So let's see what we got for him.
I'm not a tough nut to crack.
What do you do when your best friend is possessed?
That's me.
We know.
Another
I told you. We know you've been. Yeah. It's all good though. We're good with it. Holy water!
It depends. I was going to say it depends on who they're possessed by. I mean, it could be a good thing.
That's the part we haven't figured out yet.
All right, I've got my cards here in front of me. Is there something specific you'd like me to try to look at or tap into?
You know what? I don't know why, but Caitlin thought something like this was going to happen. She said she wanted to know about Lincoln more than anything. My son.
It's their son.
And what he's going to be like, or how, I don't know. I can't remember. She's not out here, so I can't.
Boss lady, Kate, where are you?
You said, and what he's going to be like?
Yeah.
All right. I went to cut them, and one jumped. So I'm setting that to the side. And now I'm going to put out a 5-card spread. And as I go, I will determine where the one that jumped needs to go. Everybody's so quiet.
I'm in love. I'm like that.
It's actually pretty quiet here in the building, too.
Is it?
Wait, I say that, and now the bat's going to wake up.
Right.
Not good.
Yeah.
No, not the reading, about the bat.
Oh,
That's not good.
Whoa.
I knew what you meant.
Oh, wait, wrong guy. Hold on.
I know Shelley loves them as much as I do.
Yeah.
Wrong.
This, to me, talks about a sense of balance. And when I look at the sense of balance and connect with the sense of balance here, to me, it's like balance in the sense of we're almost there, but not quite fully balanced. So to me, this is someone that brings balance to others. Yet, there might be this piece of themselves that's never quite fully balanced. And to me, that doesn't feel like something wrong. That feels like as this person relates to others, how they bring balance to others, there's this sense of not necessarily doing what one needs to do for themselves when they're so focused on other people. And that, to me, feels like a sense of selflessness. Not selfishness, selflessness.
Okay.
Very cool.
The position that this is in this spread, represents communication.
Uh-oh.
I heard something at the window behind me.
Don't open the window. I don't watch scary
The
movies.
last time I heard like a random noise in a window or doorway, I was like walking down the stairs at Monroe House. I just used the restroom and was all ready to go to bed, come down the stairs, and I am dive bombed by a bat. This is where my bat trauma started. It started at Monroe House. I was fine with them until then.
Yeah.
If ever you get a chance to ask patients about this, how I went flying out of the room, almost knocked her down, almost killed her. Her whole life flashed before her eyes. I didn't even see her. Now when I hear noises in the windows, I'm like, oh. Communication. There's a lot here. This to me talks about someone who is able to communicate non-verbally. Whether that's communicating through action or communicating through expression. I like both of those ideas a lot. This to me feels strong. It feels exciting. But it's the verbal aspect that makes me pause for a moment, just in the sense of, look out.
Little punk. I love him though. He brings me balance. He balances me. to be honest with you.
With this energy, to me, comes very much a sense of knowing. It's more than just sassiness. Just watch out. I don't know. You would think when you look at this card that the imagery there pretty much says everything that needs to be said. But I don't feel that when I look at this right now. This to me is about someone who's very forthright in the emotions that they express. Seemingly so. What you may interpret as the emotion being expressed might not really be what's being expressed.
Ooh.
So just pay attention to that.
So
I don't feel. Go ahead.
are you saying it's like when you ask your wife, are you okay? And she says, I'm fine. She's expressing an emotion, but that's not the emotion that she's feeling. Is that what
That's
you mean?
very much how this feels to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, just, I'm feeling this way, but I don't necessarily want to put this on your shoulders. So again, that's going back to that sense of selflessness for me.
Okay.
Makes sense.
The one that jumped is going to go with this next card. And this is like the grandma on the arm thing. Like, I just know that the one that jumped needs to go with this next card.
Mm-hmm.
This is the card that was turned. This is not the one that jumped.
Okay.
When I connect with this energy, I'm looking at this rose here and I'm thinking, that doesn't have to be done. That can be brought back to what it was. That can be brought back to something beautiful. And maybe that's the gardener in me that's speaking.
Mm.
But what I really feel here is the energy of someone that's able to take something that's broken and somehow make it not quite as broken. And I word it that way very specifically. Everything that comes out of my mouth, there's a reason why I word things the way that I do. I didn't just say make it so it's not broken.
Or perfect.
I said make it so it's not quite as broken. And that to me feels like we're talking about someone who has a very strange and unusual way of teaching you something, even when you might not realize that's what's being done. And it was the one that jumped that helped me get there.
That's cool.
Hold on. There we go.
Like, what happened? There's so much spirituality that comes through here. And to me, this doesn't relate so much to one's own spirituality, but how one person can touch other people on a spiritual level. And this actually has me tearing up a little bit. I mean, we're not just talking about your average, everyday person. We're talking about someone very different. And to me, different in all of the best ways.
Sweet. That's awesome. Kate's probably gonna cry when she watches this later.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I know
I'm
she will
tearing.
because, like, yeah, I feel it. Yeah,
I like this spread a lot. I like the energy that comes with it. And I like the opportunity it gives, the challenges that one might experience in learning how to navigate someone with this type of energy. Watch out.
Mhm. That's
is he gonna
very
take me
accurate.
out? Because I've been watching a lot of true crime shows, and I was
Yeah,
pretty
but you
certain.
can't watch that around the kids. They learn.
I'm fairly certain. You know what he did the other day? Real quick. I was sitting on the couch. He came behind me and he put his hand in my mouth. He goes, "You don't want to be here." I was like,
What?
"Dude."
I told you.
It's always the last card that gets you, man.
I thought it was hilarious, but
The big finale.
Right?
he's gonna take me out.
Maybe it meant something else. You just don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm sure. I see him.
You'll know in time.
Yeah. I like that you don't say like the whole thing about not as broken. You know, like you're not giving any illusions that things will
Right.
be perfect,
But
but
not as.
not as
Well,
broken.
That was a very.
That to me,
I appreciate
that
that.
to
Thank
me
you.
is truly the energy here. I mean, that we're talking about someone who can make things better without really trying, but
Mhm.
not all the way better, but better enough that it's noticeable. And just, it's a very unique energy I'm tapping into here. And it's very different. I'm excited,
Mhm.
but it's intriguing.
But
You
also
will
watch
have a
out.
fascinating road ahead of you for sure.
Mhm.
Oh, good. At least it won't be boring.
There is nothing boring about this.
So I want to ask you something about kids.
Mhm.
Do you think that children pick their parents?
Mm.
You know, I'm going to have to say no to that. And the reason I say no, I mean, fortunately, I don't know of anyone in my family or that's been close to me in an immediate instance, but I know of some children that grow up in just absolutely horrific circumstances.
Mhm.
And I don't think anybody would choose that.
That's true.
I think if we were able to choose our parents, there wouldn't even be a possibility that we could choose incorrectly and end up in a situation like that. So I have to say, no, I don't think
That's
we
such
can
a good
choose our
point.
parents.
That's such a good point. And because there's people who are super amazing and will try for years and years and years and not be able to have kids.
Right.
True.
I feel like our kids are,
Hey, Jen.
I don't know, I guess there's always the monkey branch of shitty parents though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like all of my kids are here to teach me something different. You know what I mean? Like they all,
Absolutely.
I mean, they're all my kids, but they all have like different roles in like the spirituality of my life.
And I love that for you.
Yeah, but there are shitty parents. That's true.
Yeah.
Nobody would pick that.
Right.
Yeah, maybe Shell.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Maybe like beforehand. Like,
Maybe we choose our kids.
yeah. Or like the universe chooses what's best for us.
I could get behind that.
Yeah.
I could definitely get behind that.
Oh, that's rough, Tina. I'm not saying it's wrong. That's a rough reality. if it is.
Yeah.
So she believes that we choose. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say no to that because I really don't know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I am going to go as far as saying that I think I would be just selfish enough that I wouldn't choose that even to further my own soul progression.
Yeah.
Right.
But then
Fuck
again,
that
I don't
chick.
know. I'm not in that situation right now.
Yeah.
But I sort of feel like I would be just selfish enough to say, nope, that's not for me. I'll come around again one more time.
Right. I'll keep going around and around and around and around as long as I don't have to deal with that shit.
Right.
Oh,
Detour.
very interesting. I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Jen says the universe needs to give her a break.
Aw.
Shelley. Like there's some shit I wish I didn't have to go through as a parent, but it has changed me in ways that even I can't comprehend.
Mhm.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's something to be learned in everything.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like I have too much trust in that. Like the whole everything happens for a reason, and I don't know.
Yeah.
know. I just feel like sometimes I put too much faith in my universe and too much faith in all of that, but
Does it
I
make you feel
100%
better?
believe it.
Does it make you feel better?
I mean, yeah, but sometimes it's like I probably shouldn't feel better, but
Why not?
I don't know.
Give
I'm having a
yourself
huge-
permission to feel better.
Yeah. Okay, but like here's an example of when I think I have too much faith, but then it just proves me right. Like years and years and years ago, this is my favorite example. We were like $700 short from paying our electric bill, and it was about to be turned off. And I kept telling my husband, I'm like, it's fine. It'll be fine. And he's like, it's not going to be fine because the electric's going to be turned off on Friday. And I'm like, it'll be fine. It'll work out. And he's like, you can't just say it'll work out and then it'll work out. And like a day or two later, we got a check in the mail for an overpayment on our insurance, which I didn't know that happens. And it was like $850.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, I mean, it's fine. Sometimes I have too much faith.
I don't know, man.
They are.
I mean, I don't really stress over things so much that I don't think they'll come out on the positive end. I mean, I stress, but I don't. It's like I know something. I mean, something's going to happen, or something will come to us, and we'll figure it out. Something will happen.
It has to work out. It will work out because it has to.
Right.
I mean, we've been in that situation more than I can even want to talk about. But yeah.
But it works
Right.
out, wouldn't it? Every time.
Yeah.
When you have this point of reference to go back to over and over again, going, wait, I've been here before, I've felt this way before, and I've made it through.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. I just have such a strong belief that you manifest things, like whatever you focus on, that's like life is like an algorithm on TikTok. Okay. If you focus on shit all the time and you're focusing on negative and you're focusing on drama, then that's what's going to come back to you, So
yeah.
I just have this blind optimism like all the time, just because I had to just always say it's going to work out. It's going to work out. It's going to be fine. And then like that cartoon sitting in the fire, there's fire all around and I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
That's good though.
Sometimes.
I just got like 6 new decks in the mail this week. But one of them, and I don't even remember the name of it off the top of my head. I'll post a picture on my page later. I don't remember the name of the deck because, like I said, I got 6. But It's a modern depiction of some of the more traditional Rider-Waite images, and the Ten of Swords is someone laying there with like all these swords in them, just like you'd see traditionally. And there's an extra card that goes along with this. There's their depiction of that actual card. And then the extra one is this person laying there with all the swords in them. They've got their phone in their hands and they're looking at their phone, and it just says, "Everything is fine."
Yes.
That's awesome. Just pull that card and we'll
Kind of
be
is.
okay.
I pulled that extra card out of the deck and I set it on my desk at home. It's
Yeah. That needs to be like a poster.
It's like one of those motivational
Absolutely.
posters that say like
Yeah.
teamwork or happiness. And it's just, everything is fine.
It could be one of my next tattoos.
Oh my gosh,
Right?
that'd be
That'd be
fantastic.
amazing.
I'm getting Lincoln when he writes his name the first time.
Aw,
I'm gonna get
cute.
that on my forearm.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome, dude.
Love that.
That's a
Need to
cool idea. I wish
manifest
I
it
had
down,
had the
so.
forethought to do something cool like that.
You're not gonna believe who I learned it or who I got the idea from.
Who?
Tommy Lee from Motley Crue.
Nice.
Makes sense.
I love that.
And this is a long time ago. I've said I was gonna do this like forever. Like if I ever had a kid, I was gonna do that. So
So
Now I
I
get to
do
do
have a Game of Thrones tarot card set that I just bought because I wanted it. Very interesting
That-
artwork.
That
Is that one of the ones you bought?
what the hell?
Oh no.
Oh no.
I hope it's not a critter.
Something just moved next to me.
The ghosts are like, listen, I'm trying
Listen
to
to
talk
me.
to you.
You need to get off
know-
that damn show and talk to us.
There's the next room over. There is a little boy that hangs out in this room.
Oh yeah.
And he is so shy with men. He's been very shy with me for the last year, but we are making some progress. Like a few weeks ago, he was upstairs with me and hanging back a little bit, very shy, but he was upstairs. And actually, I saw both of them on here tonight. Mama Bear and Peggy, they were in there during con talking to him and trying to tell him that I'm okay. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be a little bit of that energy coming through here. Like, hey, now you're not even paying attention to me.
Right, exactly.
Christopher's just
hello.
gonna walk off the show and just like, I gotta go work.
Yep.
Right. Like the first time I met him, it seriously
yeah,
was
he's gonna
magical.
disappear. You're gonna be like, all right, okay, sorry guys, bye.
Yeah. Heisenberg.
Do you have anything you'd like to plug for us today? Anything coming up that you'd like to let everybody know about?
Well, tomorrow night, we've got flashlight tours at Fairfield County Infirmary. We'll be here 7 to midnight. You can come see this fantastic building. You can bring your own equipment, you can rent equipment, and you can come see me and get a reading.
Nice.
Awesome.
And also the second Saturday of July, I'll be at the Magical Druid in Columbus doing readings. This will be the first time I've been there. So new
Very
I
place.
just saw you post that. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, that just kind of came through. So I'm pretty excited.
That's
Awesome.
good.
And then for those of you that might be out more toward the Dayton area, I'm also at Mystic Life in Xenia once a month doing readings.
Very cool.
But you can
And
find me here at FCI just about any time there's something going on.
I'm assuming you live close then.
Only about 35 minutes, not far at all.
Oh,
That's
geez,
not bad.
Not bad at all.
No, I wish.
And it's mostly quiet back roads from my house to here. So it's
Oh, that's good.
effortless.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And what about your social media stuff? Where can people find you?
Facebook page is under Christopher Lee Jansen, and Instagram is under CLJ82 Dances.
Nice. I love it. So I see you posting about like doing yoga and stuff. Is that like personal, or can people go to your classes, or what?
I teach at the New Albany Country Club in New Albany, Ohio. So for their members, I teach yoga classes, dance classes, Pilates reformer.
That's awesome. So it's not like open to the public. It's just for their people.
Right.
Okay. Is that something that you would think about doing other places? Because I feel like you love it.
I do love it. And, you know, the reason that I'm hesitant to do something like that other places, unless something very specific came up, like a one-time or special event, I'm hesitant because my schedule Monday through Friday is so full the way it is with the client and class load I have right now. And I try really, really, really hard to not do that type of work on weekends, because on weekends I want to be places like this. And even if I'm not somewhere doing
yoga, you could do haunted yoga.
Yes, I am so in. I am all in for that. But yeah, weekends, even if I'm not doing readings, I just want to be somewhere investigating.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
So yoga classes in Madison?
We could do it up in
I'm
the
down.
asylum.
Yeah, yoga, got shuffleboard. It'd be great, like a nursing home.
I am absolutely down.
That would be awesome.
I would. Yeah,
Yes.
I would like to try a past life regression someday.
Yes.
I'd love that. Actually, I mean, we could do it face to face, or yesterday I did one for someone through video. I mean, as long as I can see you.
I feel like I definitely would want to do it in person. See,
Yeah.
I prefer.
haunted yoga.
I prefer in person.
Yeah. How does it work when you're like doing a reading over?
Yeah, if
over
hypnotism is
video?
part of the process, how do you do that?
Usually, a hypnotic regression for past lives and a past life reading are two different things for me. A past life reading, I'm doing a specific spread to tap into a past life, and I'm telling you what I feel.
Okay.
And then when I'm telling you what I feel, I will often interject how I feel that relates to your current life. And that can be either in the sense of, this is a lesson I believe you've learned, and this is why you do things this way in this life. Or this is something you're still carrying around with you that you really need to work through.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Now, a regression, I just hypnotize someone, I take them back, do whatever process I'm going to go through. It's always a little bit different. But when I get someone where I need them to be, I usually have them, I mean, of course, in their mind's eye, as they're seeing themselves, look down at their feet. Tell me what's on your feet.
Okay.
Because one, that says a lot about a time period.
Yeah.
Right.
And two, it's simple. It's practical. To go into a regression and say, hey, look around. What do you see? Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So let's start with the feet. Then we start to look up. And then I pick apart other pieces of what might be going around, asking them different questions.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, a question I don't always ask during a regression is, what was your name? That's not always a question I feel led to ask. Yesterday, the one I did ask that question, and she had an answer for me like that. It was just like, ooh.
Wow. Maybe that's why you need to ask.
Every hair on my arms just stood up. I was like, that was cool.
Yeah. How many of those have you done? A lot?
I would say probably around 50 regressions altogether.
Wow.
And every now and then I'll do like a group regression event where they don't necessarily get to interact and talk with me because they're all just seeing this as they're going through. But then afterward, we can talk and decompress as a group, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Very cool.
So do you do the gallery reading style of, you know what I mean? When everybody sits around, you kind of just like, if you feel a certain person have a connection and you start with them and, you know, work your way around.
Yeah. Do you like it or no?
I do. It's something I like to engage with every now and then. It wouldn't be a regular thing for me. In Milwaukee, I used to put on these psychic dinners where people would come and they would get a full meal, and then they'd get a medium reading with me, and then they'd get to go and see my other reader, whomever I'd chosen to work with, for a more traditional tarot reading. And that was usually that type of thing where I'd go grab someone like, hey, we're talking about this.
Oh my gosh, fun.
That would be
leaving
my
somebody with a cold plate of lasagna there as I drag them up to my table. Like,
No,
come on, we've got to talk about this now.
We sitting
That's
there.
so cool.
That's right.
Sauce all over my face. No, I'm just
My
kidding.
family used to have psychic parties. Like they would just
Yeah.
bring somebody in.
I love that. I mean, I've done a number of parties over the years. I mean,
yeah,
just
and then they would just take people like one at a time and just do readings
Yeah.
with them.
last year in October. Go ahead.
I'm laughing about it because my family is ridiculous. Like I used to see things all the time and my mom would be like, "Oh, it's just your eyes playing tricks on you." But then we would do these things and we would have psychic parties and she would do seances in our dining room and like all this crazy shit. Like spirituality was like such a huge part of my childhood. But then when I started seeing spirits, my mom's like, "Oh, no, that's crazy talk. You're just tired." But that's why I was laughing.
I grew up in the
That's funny.
opposite atmosphere where it was if you're seeing shit, you're either crazy or the Satan himself is taking over your body.
Yes, that's likely.
That's like because my parents were involved with Pentecostal church, and it was just like over the top.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like really weird for me for the longest time to like even talk to them about it. I was like several years into what I was doing before I could even mention it to them. But at that point, they had already left the church, and like things were a little bit cooler. And my mom was starting to being open to like seeing people or like having ghostly experiences. So at some point, I just didn't have a whole lot of support when I was a child when I was going through it personally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I didn't. I never talked about it. Didn't care.
that's Heisenberg, folks. I'm just kidding.
Those were fun though.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there was no discussion about it at my house.
Yeah.
And there was no like. I think my parents would let me do whatever the hell I wanted in that way. They've always been that way. So,
Right.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we just didn't discuss it. Didn't need to. I could basically do what I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the, towards the end, my mom was just like, just protect yourself. Don't let things get inside of you or like
Right.
make you do things. I'm like, I don't, Mom. It's,
Right.
I at least I try not to. It doesn't always work. I always have maybe a little bit of an energy that comes home with me, but it's, I got you, Mom. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't bring that home to my family. So I guess we're running over. This has been the quickest 2 hours I think we've ever had.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we could go like another hour, but
Can we double it and give it to the next person? Let's go again.
yeah.
Can we just have you on like once a month? Once a month?
Yeah. I think Christopher is going to be a regular guest. We'll get him on as
I'd be
much
totally
as we
happy
can.
with that.
I would love that. Just let me know. I'm all in. I mean, you guys are fantastic. And,
Thank you.
I mean, I can always talk about this stuff. Always.
Yeah. I did have one more question though. What is your go-to ghost hunting snack? We ask everybody.
Oh,
We ask the real tough questions on this show.
Yeah.
that is a really tough question.
Yeah.
The hard hitting.
I don't know if this would count as a snack, but there is always a trip to Sheets involved.
Nice.
Always.
That counts. That counts.
I call them the
That's
ghost
fair.
hunting supplier. I always hit. It's either the Sheets by my house or if I know there's a Sheets where I'm going.
Yeah.
When I went to the Octagon house a couple weekends ago, they said there was a Sheets right around the corner. I'm like, yes.
Yep.
I was
Good.
so excited
Perfect.
because I knew I had a place to go to for my ghost energy drinks to get me home, like on the 3-hour drive. And I was super excited about that. Thanks, Mama Bear. We love you.
Yeah.
Love you,
And
Shelly.
I see my David answered that question about my ghost hunting snack. He said coffee.
That's a good one too.
Well, that's a given. That's a given. Coffee and energy
That's
drinks.
almost
That's not just for ghost hunting. That is for me to be up
Yeah.
and moving and civilized.
Yeah.
I just started drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's good.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Welcome.
I'm
How have
cutting
you
down on
survived
Pepsi,
all
so I
this
needed
time?
something with caffeine.
Oh,
I told Kate, I told you guys, I was like, I'm going to make
Yeah.
myself like coffee.
Yeah.
And I have.
Yeah. It's good, man.
Yeah.
Are you just drinking it straight black, or you got a
No,
little
I
cream and
put
sugar?
Kate actually had some oat milk.
Oat milk is
Whatever.
not bad. I like it.
Yeah, so I put that in there.
You guys did
Nice.
so good. We did so good, like staying on track the whole time.
Why? It was driving me nuts, Steve.
We're working overtime now, so now we can talk about the other stuff.
Let us have a few seconds at the end, G.
Sorry.
This is what usually happens about like 8:30. We start
Yeah.
talking about
Right.
food, and then like there's
did
no
good.
mention of the paranormal for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna go off the rails, 10 minutes after the show's supposed to be over
Yeah.
is perfect. But no,
Right. It usually happens around 8:30. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we should let Christopher go because he's got
Yes.
spirits waiting to talk to him.
it
Yep.
is.
Yeah, they didn't even want me to leave the basement.
I know, that's so cute.
We'll go
It
back
makes
to 'em.
my heart happy. I mean, I love this building so much, and those that are here, that stuff like that just makes me really happy.
One more story. Sorry. I was at the seminary one time and I was just there somebody was dropping off a rocking chair. And I was like, well, let's run the Phasma box while we're up there, you know? And so we put it up there and we have the Phasma box on and a woman's voice comes across and she goes, tell the stories. And I was like, oh, I'm not here to tell stories today.
I love that. My favorite story about a box from this building, when I get here to do readings for flashlight tours, I always just have to take a lap around the whole building. I just have to walk. And one night when I went to go do that, patients asked me if I wanted to take her fed box with me and walk around. I'm like, sure, why not? So I went down to the morgue. Not the morgue. I went down to the funeral parlor, and I stopped by the casket and I was going to take a selfie like I often do. I set the box down. I went to take my picture and the box says, pretty.
Oh,
And I was like,
thank you.
it's like, yes. So when I was upstairs later telling the story, the box was still on. I'm telling the story, the box goes, you know you are.
Oh my gosh, stop it.
Wonderful. That's awesome. That is a good story.
I love it.
We could keep going, but we can't.
Yeah.
Thanks, Timothy. Again, thank you so much, Christopher, for being on. It was an amazing 2 hours and plus.
Absolutely. You guys are the best.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And everybody, we had a great viewership tonight. I mean, we were up in the 30s at one point. So
everybody loves Christopher.
Everybody loves Christopher. You guys had great questions. Thank you so much.
And we did keep it on the paranormal for way too long.
Yeah.
Way too long. But I was cool,
okay?
man. I was cool. I
Deep
just sat there.
You okay? Okay. Well, we love you guys. We will see you next week. I'm working on a guest. It's never set in stone until probably about Monday or Tuesday.
That's how we roll.
That's how we roll. I got some people on the line though, so we'll get somebody on. We love you guys, and we'll speak to you later. D.
Don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Have a good weekend.